finally, let's talk about speaking. In order to speak a language well, you need to speak it a lot. No matter how much studying you do, and how many grammar rules, and how many exams you pass, and so on. I know people who have passed the C1 exam in English, Spanish people, who can't speak at all. It's embarrassing. So, anyway, I'm not going to go on a rant here. In order to speak well, you need to practice speaking. And you're going to tell me, yeah, I don't have anyone to speak with. You can find someone, you can go to italki, for example, and find someone to speak to, but you can do it by yourself really efficiently. And once you get, my recommendation is that you do all these techniques, and once you are comfortable enough and you're able to speak a lot on your own, then you start speaking to people. It's always going to be it's always going to be rewarding to talk to people once you're able to say a lot of things, because they'll be like, oh, you speak Russian, and that's nice, and then you'll be like, yeah. But if you start talking to them when you can't even say your name, then it's going to be embarrassing, it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be a mess, and it's going to make you lose motivation, and you don't want that. So what I suggest is you try all these exercises, you do them regularly, after or while you also do the reading and listening to learn all the vocabulary and improve your comprehension. And once you can speak on your own a lot, then you start talking to people. Yeah? So yeah, let's go. This is a short list. Actually, I think I forgot one. So, yeah, I forgot one. First one, reading aloud. Super easy. Take the text, try to read aloud, and for maximum effect, like I said, you record yourself. You can send it to a native speaker. That's good. If you want them to give you some feedback, you should probably do that. But also, record it and listen to it together with native speaker material. Yeah? Podcast, native speaker speaking, you hear yourself talk, you start noticing the differences. But you should read aloud all the time. You build muscle memory, you get used to speaking faster and faster in the language. Second one, language islands. Like I said, you prepare language islands, you read them aloud daily, you drill them. You should get really good at saying those things, all those sentences that are the most relevant, the most important sentences for you. You memorize them. So whenever you're in conversation, and if you're running out of things to say, having a couple of groups of sentences that you can just... have you ever talked about my native language and you start talking about it? Don't make it so artificial and unnatural, but you can always try to direct the conversation where you're strongest. And the more language islands you prepare, the more areas you'll have, the more strong points you'll have, so you can always jump to one of the islands and keep the conversation flowing, right? Then, this is for pronunciation. Take a list of sentences with audio, and you listen to a sentence, you repeat after, you listen to it again, you repeat after, and try to sound as close as possible to native speakers. You can do this with, there's lots of content out there you can use for this. There are really good materials like Asimil, Glossika, Link as well, the stuff you'll find in Natural Language Learning as well, and also YouTube. YouTube, it's free and you can find anything. In fact, your favorite scenes from films, from series are perfect for this. So if you want to improve your German accent, go watch some German films and you end up sounding like one of those actors. You listen to all of Til Schweiger's lines and you repeat after them in each one of his films. And you end up sounding like him, for example. don't use Der Schweiger as someone you emulate in German. Or do, I mean, what do I care? Questions and answers. You get lots of those here in natural language learning. Long list of questions on any topic. You try to answer them in speaking. It's as simple as that. So what hobbies do you have? I like skiing, I like horse riding, I like whatever. And you speak as much as you can in each one of them. Yeah? What do you do for a living? And you try to talk about your job. I mean, it should be spontaneous, as if you were talking to people, but you do it in front of a paper or your screen. But you try to do it as if you were in conversation. Yeah? This is really, sounds stupid. Maybe your neighbors are going to think you're crazy, but if you speak to yourself with this questions and answers exercise, you'll improve a lot very quickly. You should combine them, by the way. This is the easiest one. This is also the easiest. This is basically the same exercise, but with your own sentences. You should do this a lot in the beginning. This later when you're starting to be able to say things and you want to improve the way you say them. This when you want to get better at like thinking fast and speaking fast and responding, quick response. Then this is the translation exercise that we talked about in writing. It's just the same thing in speaking form. So you take the text in, we used Portuguese as an example earlier, I think. We use the text in German, the text in English. You hide the text in German, look at the text in English, and you go sentence by sentence, you read the English part and you try to say it in German. Look it up. If you got it right, perfect. If you got it wrong, you read it aloud from the German. Second sentence, you same thing. You read the English, you try to say it in German, check if you said it correctly. If you didn't, you read it aloud. Keep doing that. Simple. And the last one is the presentation. This one is advanced. It's the most advanced of the techniques. It should only be done when you're already at a relatively high level. And it's also simple. You just choose the topic, put a timer on, topic that's probably interesting and relevant, interesting and or relevant or necessary. Set a timer, you get in front of the mirror, and you speak in front of the mirror until the timer goes off. Yeah? You keep talking, no matter what. That's the presentation technique. That's really good for when you have to, I mean, you can do it with real presentations. You have to do public speaking. It's basically public speaking training, but in the language that you learn. So, basically, if you do all these things, if you do this, first three, for a month, daily, then you do these two for a month, daily again, and then for the last one you do this, daily, and you should probably, the second one you should do this too, but also keep doing this, and then in the last one you should do this, but also keep doing this regularly, because they're all complementary, right? You should work on your accent, but you also on your fluidity and the ability to think and speak fast with this one, and this also is muscle memory, and you get used to saying more complex sentences that you read. You're always going to use more complex sentences reading aloud than when you're creating your own sentences, when you're thinking of your own sentences. That's normal. So they're all complementary, so you should do all of them. But in 3 months, if you start with these three, then add these two, and then finally, at the last one, you can get really good at speaking. It's effort. It's effort, you need discipline, and you need hard work. But if you do this daily, you'll get really good at any language in 3 months. And I think that's all. Thanks for watching, and if you want to start applying all this, I mean, you can take the techniques, go do it on your own, But I highly recommend buying one of the courses and you'll use these techniques. I've got everything ready and you'll get fluent in 3 months. 6 if you're lazy. But as long as you're relatively consistent, you'll get good really quickly. Thanks for watching.